I'm just honestly just so like blown away and so thankful that you guys are here. Like, you have no idea. And because honestly, this isn't something that I've tried to like make happen. It's just been like steady steps of faithfulness of God saying, do this. And I'm like, okay, like I'll do this. Like, this is never something I was like, oh, I want to be like a speaker. I want to host a podcast. I want to run a conference. Like, that was the last thing I wanted to do. And still sometimes I'm like, what am I even doing? Like, God, why me? So I'm honestly just, really, really thankful for everyone that's been helping make this happen, the volunteers. Like, everyone's here just volunteering their time. This isn't something to make money. It's honestly just bringing women together in a transformative weekend. Because honestly, I feel like a lot of what I'm going to say this weekend is like a little bit, well, maybe a lot, like kind of just like, I don't know what you would call it, just not normally talked about and normally told, and like not a normal perspective that we often hear. And so I think it's like God's raising up a generation, and there's a really transformative shift happening in women becoming the women of God that they are created to be. And like seeing the like diverse age group here, I wanted that because I'm like, it's time that like older women and younger women all begin this process together, because we need the wisdom of the older and then the fire of the younger to all come together in just like really pursuing the heart of God that God has for women. Because I'm so tired of seeing just young women who have no clue who they are. And that's the generation we live in, is a visionless, do not know who they are, do not know their identity in Christ. And we have all these things that say what your identity is, but truly we haven't really hit it. It's like, oh, well, if I follow this box and I check off this box, then I'm following God. And like we have all these lists of like, oh, what is a woman of God? But really, like, that's what I want to dive deep is like, who are you? And like this weekend is about like, one, encouraging and uplifting each other in this group, but really is like you and God. This is just about you, and this is about God, not about your family, not about your relationships, not any of that. It's about you and God and your relationship with God, and how do you become the best version that God created you to be. And so, I just kind of wanted to talk about tonight, kind of like where's the history of like how this come about. And also, Zadok and I got back in June from being 10 months in the active war zone of Burma. And so I want to talk about with you guys too. Some of you guys have heard some about our time in Burma, but I kind of want to just share too from like the feminine perspective even more of like my deep heart things and emotion with you guys, because I can't share all that with a group of like guys and girls. And I feel like it's valuable for you guys to hear that like vulnerability, because honestly, and this whole thing about the conference is like, I want to be that person for you that I wish I would have had. And like, this has been a journey I've been walking on without any help. This has been me and God. People have been like, oh, was your mom this or this or this? And like, honestly, no, I didn't have any influence. I just knew God had called me to something great. And so I had to make choices in my life to step into that. And so honestly, like, I'm here and I'm talking, but I want to be able to talk one-on-one with you. So if you guys want to talk, like those who've come through BSC, you're never just like a number. You guys aren't one of the 55. Like, you're each an individual that I really, really care about and prayed about as I wrote all of your guys' name tags and looked over and like just praying for you guys as you prepared to come. And so I'm here to talk and pray with you, and it's never an inconvenience. And like, even after this, you can text me, you can call me. And like, I just want to be there to always champion you, because I feel like there's no one really out there championing people. Like, we really live in a society of everyone for themselves and derogatory and tearing down, instead of living in a time of actually like championing who that person is, and to tell you, you can do it, go for it. If God says go, hey, who cares what other people say? You're supposed to do it. And so, I had, I just really want this to be like a time of radical surrender. Like, that's the thing I was praying for as we were driving here, is like that this would be a weekend of such a deeper radical surrender in each of our hearts. And just like every day I'm like, Lord, I want to surrender more and more. And honestly, Courageous Womanhood kind of came out of like, so someone was talking to me and I was telling them about going to Burma and some of the things Zadok and I were doing. And they're like, wow, you must have the courage gene. Like, you were just born with this courage gene. And I was like, tried not to laugh. I was like, okay, I'm going to be gracious in this moment. And I said, actually, no, I wasn't. But I chose to make incremental choices in my life that shifted my trajectory. And all it takes is little incremental choices in your life to change the long term of your life. And so I wanted to cover tonight, like, what are some of those incremental choices that I chose to make? Because I didn't wake up one day just like being courageous or like full of all this. And it's been like each day and making choices to say no to this and yes to God. And no to comfort and yes to God. Because people think like, oh, Claire that's so her. She just loves roughing it and suffering and eating bugs. And actually, I don't really enjoy it. But it's like God's so worth everything that it doesn't matter what I like to do. Like, my life's not about me. It doesn't matter if I enjoy something or not. My life is not about enjoyment. But serving God is so enjoyable, and it's the best thing you'll ever do in the servitude of God. But it's not like, I was telling some of you guys, I was like, I feel like my life is like an extreme dichotomy. I'm like two different people in one body. I can rough it, absolutely suffer, starve, not shower, and I'm great. But then I like to shower every day, and I like to dress up, and I like to do my hair, and if you meet one, you don't know the other one exists. So, I just want to kind of talk how it started. So, is that you? Yes. So, even you guys, like a lot of you guys who have known me, don't know a lot of this stuff and like stuff I want to show you guys. So, when I was like graduating high school, I was homeschooled all the way through, and I really knew in my heart, like, God has called me to my generation. God has called me to youth and to raise up a next generation that's radically on fire for God. And like, I just knew that. I didn't know what it looked like. And I just was so like, I never went to youth groups. I went to a youth group and then I was like, I'm 15 and everyone's trying to find their boyfriend. Like, what are they doing? I just want to serve God. And I didn't understand. I was just like, what? Like, I knew there's something more, but I can't find it anywhere. I'm not finding any women I can be like, oh, I want to follow them. They're really serving God. You know, I didn't see any adventurous women that like, I saw the like secular adventurous unto themselves. And I worked for a lady who it was really this self-built mentality. Like, you build yourself, your accomplishments, and you do crazy things. I was like, that's not a place of radical surrender and dependence on God. Where's the adventure? Where's the crazy, wild stories with surrender with God? And so I went to a 3-year training program to train for missions. I knew I was called to missions my whole life. Growing up, I would read missionary books, YWAM books, would eat them up. And I just wanted to serve God and just do whatever God told me to do. I didn't care. And so I would just read missionary books and missionary stories. And then I went to this program. It was an outdoor leadership program and to train for missions. And growing up, we never even went camping. So I did not grow up doing radical, crazy outdoor stuff. We didn't even go camping. One time we went and it was in a camper. And, so it wasn't really camping or roughing it or anything. And so I always wanted to, but I just never had that opportunity or platform. And so this is on the first hike I did. I was 17. I graduated 17, went to college, moved all the way across the country from my family. And this is on the first hike. So it's called selection hike. So they made it sound like it's a selection process, but really it's for you to mentally decide if you actually want to do this or not. But we thought we could get kicked out. We don't know. But it's really for us to be what are we getting into? So we pack our bags. They don't tell us what to pack. They just kind of want to see what we're made of, right? And so we're packing for days, meticulously packing way too much stuff looking back on it. One girl brought a whole bunch of bananas, a whole bunch. And we're literally several bladders, the Camelback bladders of water. Her pack was Pilgrim's burden. And so anyways, so they take us to Golden Corral, right? We sit in there for hours. They want us to get as fat and happy as possible before we go hike. And we're all sitting there when are we leaving? It's getting dark. We have to hike tonight. What's going on? Eventually we leave. We get to the parking lot and he goes, well, you guys got 2 minutes. Grab what you want. And we're like, what? So we had 2 minutes to grab what we had meticulously packed our bags, right? But now we have 2 minutes. We can't bring a bag. We can't bring a backpack. We can't bring anything. We can just grab what we can stuff maybe a little bit in our pockets. 2 minutes. And we're frantic in the dark. And one of the people who had been through the course the year before is you won't get your bags back. And we're we won't get our bags back. And we have a whole weekend. So anyways, we do this hike, and then this was after we hike all through the night. I was so tired, we laid some tarps down, and I just crash out on the ground and got we got like a MRE or 2 MREs a day.
What's that?
So meal ready to eat. So it's like the military meals that are like, what are they? They're not freeze dried. They're just so preserved. And they last 25 years, but these ones were expired. actually expired. They bought them off eBay, and they were over 25 years old. The heating elements, I don't think really worked. Let's just say MREs are not good. If you've seen cat vomit, that's mostly what the food looks like, actually. So we went for that hike was 3-4 days long anyways. And so then we went through that whole year. And then the last one, we had a 72-mile hike we had to do as a team in less than 72 hours. And so we ended up finishing ours in 69 hours through the Appalachian Trail. I had blisters on the end of every single one of my toes. When I say fluid-filled blisters, every single one of my toes. I was gimping along by the end. And so that was my final hike. And then the next year we went to the Outer Banks, North Carolina, and we had a survival challenge that we were shipwrecked. And so we had just the clothes we were wearing, and we each got a Nalgene water bottle, a quart container, and we could fit whatever we needed for the whole weekend in a quart Nalgene, that's all. Plus just the clothes on our back. And so, yeah, we found a fishing net thing, and then we got these little fish. I didn't actually eat it, but I posed for the photo. So in case you're thinking I ate it, we were using it to bait bigger fish. Anyway, so this is kind of just a little backstory. I went through this 3-year program, just really with a heart to be prepared for whatever God had me to do. I never wanted to be held back by my lack of ability because I wasn't training and I wasn't able. So yeah, this was some photos from the program I went through. That led me to going overseas a few times. So these are in Haiti. So after I finished the program, an earthquake actually hit Haiti, and I was working with this organization, multimillionaire. I was doing media for her, and then there was the earthquake, and so they also had a disaster relief thing on the side of her real estate and all this stuff. And so I went with a couple ex-military guys, and we helicoptered in to a landing zone in the middle of this village, and we hiked to try to find people who had been injured by the earthquake and medevac them out. So it was just me and a couple old Green Beret Marine hiking through these mountains. And yeah, so that was my first just really on my own. It was me and a couple Marine guys, and we just went. And I got to go to a village. This guy was 100 years old. Never ever seen someone with white skin before. And he comes out and he's talking to us. And then there's me, blonde, blue-eyed, really white. And so, yeah, we actually, a funny story. So we're trying to get up to these mountain people. And the village leader comes down. He's like, oh, I'll take you to them. He takes us an hour and a half up this mountain. We have a donkey carrying our supplies and stuff. We get up there, and there's nobody injured. It was his house. He was trying to show us off. So we hike all the way back down the mountain, because they were actually on the other side of the mountain, the injured people. So we hike another 2 hours up in the dark to where the actual injured people are. We get there in the dark. We had been told we weren't going to stay overnight. So we ended up having to. So I slept in a hammock that one of the guys gave me. He slept on the ground. I happened to have I always bring snacks, okay? I had a bag of jerky. I had brought a freeze-dried meal with me, praise the Lord. And then we, were able to eat something that night. But literally we're up on this mountain camping. You can hear the huts in the distance, playing on drums and just totally it was the most surreal thing, and it's me and a couple dudes. And it was that was pretty wild. So this is in the village. This guy, so there's me, and then there's this guy here. They brought him down, and his leg was like this. It was black. When I say black, it's black like this. And it was retracted, stuck here. And his whole foot was rotted away. You could see the bones in his feet. and like, because his foot was like dead. All the flesh was rotted off, and you could just see like the bones of his feet. And because he had got gangrene, and the infection was like all the way up to his groin. And so they carried him down. It smelled, like you can see even some of their faces of just like, it was, yeah, pretty gnarly. But yeah, they bring him down on a little like homemade stretcher, and then we take him out on a helicopter. So, yeah.
Did he live?
I haven't like heard. They took him to like a Samaritan's Purse hospital that was set up. So I'm assuming they would have had to amputate. It was dead. But the fact that he had survived that long was impressive. Like just totally out in the jungle. And then yeah, this is me and like the porters, and yeah, we're just getting water there. And so just kind of showing like there's little me, and then we're just this group of people there. And then this is a disaster zone in Louisiana. A big storm came through there. So I was working down there. We went from 7 days, I think, here, and then immediately flew from there immediately into this storm. Okay, so then after that, so was working that job, and then I just really felt like I was around such this mentality of like self-built. And so I ended up leaving that job, and then I moved back to my family after like 4 years. And it was during that time too, I was just like, God, like I don't want to do this life alone. Like I don't want to be single forever, but if I have to, I will. Because I'm not going to stop doing what God's called me to do. I'd been in a relationship at college that almost derailed my life. And I was like engaged and everything, and it almost totally derailed me and the mission that God had in my life. And after that, I was like, I am never getting a relationship that with someone that is not aligned with the vision and destiny God has upon my life. And so even when I was in Haiti, there was guys like, why are you single? Like, you're so cool. I'm like, because there's no one that has the vision that God has over my life. He wasn't even a believer. He was like, wow, that's like really good. He's like, my girlfriend. And then he's telling me how like she's totally not aligned with him and stuff. And I was like, bro, like you should not, like there's a mission on your life. And there's a mission on my life. Like you don't get in a relationship with someone that's going to not be with you on that mission that you were created for. And so many people stop the mission on their life for a person. And so anyways, I go back and I'm just like, Lord, you're my everything. Like you're enough, but please don't make me do this life alone. And so then, well, we'll probably tell our story at some point. So through that story, then once I meet Zadok, we'll tell the story at some point. But anyways, he connects me to this group in Washington that needed, Zadok was running BSC, an outdoor men's survival program, teaching them to be high-risk missionaries. He'd been running it for like 7 years before we met. And he wasn't running any ladies ones because he didn't have a wife. And then when I first meet him, he's like, well, there's this training in Washington. They really need a female instructor. And so I was in Montana at the time. So this wasn't part of BSC or anything, but I just go over there and I run a group of like, I think there was a few more than this group. And I run them through, it's just me and a mom. And I run them through medical training and kind of like BSC style training for those that have like been through on a very small level, because it was just me. And then it was a mom who was like very concerned for their well-being. So I couldn't go as extreme as I was planning. She kept giving them new socks. And I was like, they don't need new socks. They can suffer. It's okay. And so, but yeah, so that was like my first like young women's training that really like began the journey of like really working with young women. When I was in college, I was like working with different youth programs and things like that. Always had a passion to just really work with the next generation and be that person that I didn't have, because I didn't see any radical young women that I felt like I could talk to or be like, hey, can I have some advice? Or anyone that I felt like was leading an example for me. And so, yeah, I was working with youth a lot, and then I helped with this program in Washington State, and that was kind of like the start of the first, program that I did. And then Zadok and I got married shortly after, so we met in April of 2022, And then we got married in October. And so maybe we'll get to tell you guys our story, but it was just, like, God's so cool. When you surrender everything to him, he gives you his best. And like, so many times we think God's not big enough to like actually give us his best. Like, oh man, you're serving God. You know what? If you follow me, I can't get you a spouse. Like, I can't bless you because you're following me. Like, somehow we think that. Like, oh, if I really serve God, well, he's just going to make me marry a midget. Like, I thought I was going to have to marry a hobbit. Like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to have to marry like some short, grubby, long-footed fellow that is like totally ugly, but at least he loves the Lord. But like, we get this mentality, like, if I serve God, I'm not going to get God's best. But that's so not God. Like, he gives us his best. And so then we got married and we're like, we're going to take a year off. We're going to just kumbaya, take a biblical year off. Well, we were on our honeymoon and Zadok's walking around in his tactical gear. And I'm on the computer watching missionary stories and videos of overseas missionaries. And we look at each other after 2 weeks. Well, we're not going to last a year. And we prayed about it, and we felt that God said, you need to start up BSC again, and you need to start a women's division. So get married in October. January, we launch all this information. We run 2 female courses, 3 men's courses. And so the first women's course, we have 48 ladies show up. And it was just so cool. Some of you guys were in the first BSC course. Ashlyn was in the first course. Praise and Jubilee, Laurelyn, like a bunch of you guys. Sophie, we're in the first BSC course ever. And it was just so cool. Like, literally so many people for years have been like, Zadok, when are you going to start a women's course? Well, when I get a wife. Well, what if your wife doesn't want to do that? Well, then I'm not going to marry her. And that's what he told people. And because we were both like, we're not going to marry someone that's not on the vision that God has put on our life. And so, yeah, this is the first guys course we were in. We had 72 recruits show up. I think we had like 10 staff, 72 guys. And we ran this course. We'd been married 6 months or something. And so, yeah, then we ran our first ladies course here. Yeah, there's some of you guys here. And I remember it was just like so radical. And like, I didn't picture years prior that I'd be here in this place. And like, you don't know where you could be in 1 year if you choose to say yes to God. And like, I chose to make incremental choices in my life that led me to here. Of like, you know what, I'm not going to do stuff just for my comfort or make me, you know, more, because we live in a society that's like, it's all about us and our comfort and how it makes us feel and our emotions and how do we make our life more safe? How do we make it more logical? How do we make it more comfortable? But God is not safe, logical, or any of that. Like, serving God is the safest place you can be, but it's totally illogical to our brains. Like, oh, you're a perfect God and then you die for an imperfect people that might not even choose you and you give them free will. Like, that doesn't make logical sense. Like, to forgive a people that totally turn on you and die for them, like, that's not logical. But anyway, so then we run this, and this is just like, we just saw God show up, like, so powerfully at this course and at every BSC course. Like, the times where we're like, God, like, I don't know how we're going to do this. I'm running on no sleep. Like, literally the first course, I did not sleep. It was 5 days long. I would be in our tent, and I'd be like, Zadok, they're all here. I'll get up. I'll help them. Because in my sleep, I thought I saw every 48 girls staring into my tent, needing help. And I saw all these red flashlights in my tent all night, the whole time, going, Claire, we need your help. Claire, we need your help. And I'm like, so I'd wake up and Zadok's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting up. I'm going up to help them. They need help. And he's like, honey, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. But I was convinced, I did not sleep this whole first time. Because I was so worried, like, what if they need help? What if they need help? Like, I have these girls in the middle of the woods, knives, weapons, often like tarp shelters over here. And yeah, but thankfully girls are a lot safer than the guys sometimes. So we didn't have any bad injuries. But I was more worried about their emotional state, like that they're gonna wake up crying in the night and then need my help, and then I'm gonna be like groggily, like, what do you need? Go to bed. So then this is the Texas course, girls course we ran that year. This course, literally, God told us to run a course in Texas, and I feel like every time God tells you to do something, sometimes stuff happens, like 11:59, I had like no signups, like none. And I was like, we're not doing the Texas Girls course. I have like 3 people. I can't run a course for 3 people. And I think we said 10 was our minimum. And then we ended up with 18. And this is me teaching suturing. We had chicken thighs here, chicken legs, and I taught suturing to all the ladies there, which is like if someone cuts themselves and you stitch up a wound, because I had like trained myself on that for a long time. I spent hours and hours training myself on stitching people up, and then I actually ended up getting to do it in Burma. So you never know. Like God like highlighted I wanted to do suturing, and then I ended up getting to stitch a guy up in Burma that needed it done. So you never know what God tells you to do now that's going to come in place later on. Yeah, this is the BSc course. This is after, as you can tell by how exhausted we look. But really cool. So this girl, actually, she's in Guatemala right now for a few months, just radically serving God. And like, there's just so many young women that I've just are going like, yeah, Rachel, you were just overseas, and Rachel here as well. And it's just so cool to see, like, it just makes me so excited when I see like, oh, my simple yes has allowed so many of these girls to go do things that like I almost cry sometimes when I get their messages, and I'm like, wow, God, me saying yes led to them going radical and serving God. Like, that is like the biggest encouragement of my heart when I see girls that are like, wow, like they came through, and now they're radically serving God, and you see that change, because I'm like, I don't feel like I did anything to make that happen except just say yes to God. And in my brokenness and my emptiness and feeling so inadequate every single time, that wow, God, like you actually spoke to them. And so then, yeah, this is our next course that we had in Texas. These are all the guys. So every course, I'm the only female on staff. And then at the girls' courses, Zadok's the only one on staff. And honestly, it was so awesome. It's actually like Amanda, she's over there. This is her husband, and then we used their property. And so, yeah, Jonathan's, you can't tell them apart somewhere in there. They all look the same. So yeah, then this is more courses we ran. This is in Tennessee. Oh yeah, there's Jonathan and Zadok and me and Danny here. And then girls course. And so at the courses, it was just 5 days of like just hardcore, honestly. For those of you that don't know, it's just like 5 days of super intense in the dirt. Literally every second of your day is scheduled, planned, and you don't even know what's planned. So you're just constantly living on the edge of what are they going to do to me. I had Abigail message me, and she's like, so after the cold plunge, are we going to have time to change? Or am I going to have to wear my wet clothes all day? I was like, don't worry, you're not at BSC. I'll let you change. You'll have time. It's okay. Don't worry, because there is just like 5 days of you are so exhausted to the point of delirium, and to where also God gets to get to your heart because you're so beyond exhausted that you have no energy to do anything. But honestly, it's just like the heartbeat. I just love seeing young women get an opportunity I didn't have, because like growing up, I so wanted like the opportunity to do something radical and hardcore. And so this is just literally every BSO course was my heart put into a plan. Like I just like what was on my heart and getting to do it. And so yeah, I just so proud of all you guys who have come through, and even those who haven't. Like God's just so cool. Like when you say yes, like just looking at this, I'm like, wow, me saying yes to God like allowed this to happen. So then I kind of want to talk about Burma. So we just got back from Burma, like I said, in June. And wow. Like, so we finished BSc. We ran BSc until our last course was July. I think it was July. And then, no, June. And then in August, we left to Burma. So we ran courses and we said, okay, God, we need to run a certain amount of courses with a certain amount of people just to be able to cover our costs to get to Burma. And we thought we needed a lot less than we really needed. And praise the Lord, God totally took care of us. But so we go from Burma to Burma. And while we were there, we were helping someone build a Bible school over there to disciple ethnics. And if you don't know about Burma, Burma is an active war zone for 76 years. 76 years of a total just ethnic genocide of 60% of the nation wanting to wipe off 40% of the nation just because they're a different ethnic group and they speak a different language. And it's just like Nazi Germany, like just black zone, man, woman, child killed on sight. We're there, drones over our head, planes, bombers like that Russia's using in Ukraine. And then the ethnic people have nothing. They're completely impoverished, completely starving. We are going there to disciple the ethnics and teach them about relationship with Jesus. And I had people ask me before I went, like, were you afraid? Like, are you afraid to go? Like, what if you guys die? And Zadok and I had the conversation so many times, like, we already counted that cost a long time ago. Like, we already died years ago to ourselves. Like, we're living for God. We're not living for ourselves. Obviously, we didn't want either one of us to die, but it was something that we'd counted before we got married of like, you know what, if we die, we die. And we'd already so died to self. Like people told me, oh, before we got married, marriage, oh, it's going to be so hard. You just got to die. You just die. And I was like I heard such negative about it, especially like when you first get married, and honestly it was not. It's been so easy because I was so dead to myself and I was so done with me that I was like, oh, I have a buddy now. I get to do life with a buddy. Like this isn't like difficult at all. And so anyways, we go there and we lived in a bamboo hut, just 10 foot by 10 foot, little bamboo platform that we built with, well, we had tarps on the walls after like 6 months. So we only had them the last little bit. Otherwise just like an open bamboo hut, totally living in the jungle with these jungle people and sharing the gospel with them. I don't remember what order I put the photos in, so I'm gonna I have photos of like our house and everything, but honestly, Burma was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And it was the fact that there's so many factors, but you're literally living on this much, like 2 bits of this rice a day. A scoop this big in the morning and a scoop this big at night, with some chilies on the side, maybe an egg or 2 per week for protein. And literally those who've come through BSC, like I wish I could have had BSC food. I was like, BSC food sounds so good. I'm so hungry. To the point where I would go to bed nauseous, could not sleep at night because I was so starved, to the point of like your stomach gets where it hurts so bad to where you're so nauseous, because your stomach's so empty and you're just so starved, to where your brain's just moving like so slow. I was like, I felt like a smart person. And then all of a sudden I can't think of simple things. Like I tried to type a newsletter and I'm like, nothing's coming, recomputing again, because I was just like, you're so to the point of starved that like everything slows down, like massively. Just like getting up and walking somewhere is just like so hard. And just like so many different things. Like we were often just Zadok and I in the jungle, like the size of Middle Tennessee, just us and the ethnics in the middle of the jungle. Like we literally sometimes at night would be like on our phones or something and connected to a Starlink, and you'd see a drone coming overhead, so you'd have to like turn all your lights off because it'd be a recon drone coming over to bring a plane and bomb and just totally, craziness. Like there's times you're in your hammock and you can feel the like concussives of a bomb that went off and got a mortar that got dropped nearby. And you're in your hammock, then you hear a plane going over your head, just like shaking the ground. You can feel it. And people ask me like, oh, were you ever afraid? No. I honestly never felt an ounce of fear. Because like I'd already just so counted the costs, and I was like, it wasn't even a concern in my mind like of that at all. I just felt like so safe in the will of God. But it is the reality of where we were. Like we come back to a Thai hotel on a border run. And the AC unit is on, and I wake up out of my sleep, my heart pounding, because I thought there was a plane going over, and it was the air conditioning unit. And then I was like, wow, I'm really living on high alert. Like, I didn't realize how much I'm just living on high alert, like not sleeping, because you're thinking about like planes and drones and stuff like that. So anyways, this is one of the villages we were in. We taught at helped build a Bible school and teach the foundations of the Christian faith. And then for 2 months, we went on mission, hiked village to village. And so here in this village, we ran a program, a children's program, and then a medical program. And in every village, they all got to preach the gospel. Huh? This is our house that we lived in. So this was our humble abode right here. And this is what they call a laundry. So it's a hand-woven towel that you actually wrap around yourself, and that's how you shower, because everything's public bathing there. So you just wrap that around yourself and shower with that on. So this is our shower situation. So you have a bucket, it gets filled with water, and then you just bucket bath. It was in the cold season, it was so cold. I think cold plunging is better, because this is just pure torture, because you're just slowly doing it, trying to get yourself soaped up, and then over and over, and then the soap's still on there, and you're like trying to rinse. But there's a lot of things we don't have photos of because, security reasons. This is the kitchen right here. I have more pictures of kind of the cooking situation. But these buckets here are the most multi-use buckets you've ever seen. Ashlyn knows. So here we have our toilet water carrier. We have our laundry bucket. We have our food scraps bucket. We eat out of this bucket. The chickens eat out of this bucket. The raw fish heads in this bucket. And they're all just interchanged. So the sanitation levels in Burma are quite different from here. My stomach hurt every day pretty much from it, Anyway, so I'm cutting up some food for dinner, and then actually, even though living in a war zone, you'd think everyone is well versed in guns and things like that. None of the girls or anything really knew how to shoot a gun or anything, so I actually trained girls in the jungle how to shoot. So then this is there's Ash there. But these are some of the female students. We're up in the IDP camp doing a soccer game. A bunch of the guys were playing soccer. And so Asians, I'm telling you, it is not a stigma. They love selfies. So we had lots of selfies while we were there. And this is actually traditional garb. This is not like a dress-up outfit. This is what the ladies actually traditionally wear. They're all wearing it in these villages. This is the guy I got to stitch up right here across his knuckle. He cut himself with cutting wood or something, like a hatchet or something. And I was up, it was a Sunday, and I was up in our hut, and Zadok's like, I need you, come down here. I'm like, what? And I hadn't eaten breakfast or anything, and so I go down and I go stitch this guy up. He doesn't have any lidocaine, so he's just every time I put the needle through, he's just wincing, because he's doing it with totally no numbing or anything. And funny story, I start feeling like I'm gonna pass out as I'm doing it, and I think it's because one, I hadn't eaten, and if I don't eat breakfast, I kind of get close to passing out. If I don't eat, I get very, genetically, my dad would pass out, my brother passes out without food. And so I almost pass out, so I put my arm like this. I'm hoping Zadok doesn't see me. I was like, I hope Zadok doesn't see me. I'm strong, I can do this. And so he's helping him. Both of them don't look at me, so I'm just muscling through, trying not to pass out. And I think it's partially because I was seeing him wince, so I felt bad. And so just all of a sudden, blood doesn't normally bother me, but fun fact, I almost passed out when I did that, but I was very proud of my stitches. And then we had hiked 3 brutal. When I say brutal, they were brutal days. Ashlyn, they were brutal. 3 days, you're eating just a little bit of rice in the morning to fuel your nice long 20-mile hike of the day. And we're hiking up mountains, so hot with rucks on, carrying all your supplies that you need. So we'd hike 3 days. And then we hopped on this boat it's 20, 30-minute ride up this river. But this is literally the conditions that everyone is living in Burma. Like, this is third world. As you can see, there's foxholes. There's foxholes at every single house due to the war. There's a foxhole everywhere. Every house you will see a foxhole. And like, even by where our hut was, thankfully there was like a natural trench, or we would have had to dig one just because of literally the threat there. This lady, we were walking to the church and she comes yelling, like not speaking English, yelling, waving these shirts in the air. And it was this grandma. She gave me this shirt and Zadok this shirt, and they were hand woven. Those will take like a month or more to make. So she gave us one of her own shirts, just like, we were only in the village like 2 days, and gave us these hand woven traditional shirts. And then, yeah, this is before we get on the boat. But let's see here. Okay, so we were in hammocks before we built our bamboo hut, like 3 weeks. 3 weeks of sleeping in hammocks, and then 2 more months we had in hammocks when we were on mission. And so this is my hammock, Zadok's hammock, and we would at night, like, we'd zip our mosquito nets to where our hand could fit through, and we'd be like, good night. We'd touch the hand and then pull it back in because there was so much bad. The mosquitoes were like so bad, and they carry malaria. So you're like way more like worried about getting bit by mosquitoes. Thankfully, like, praise the Lord, neither of us got malaria, which is like a miracle, being there in the jungle for like almost a year, and we didn't get any malaria. This is some of the appetizing food. So we have these wonderfully dried minnows, but they're like third world dried. So the level of dryness and preservedness, I don't know. I honestly wouldn't really eat them because it was to the level of like it would really destroy my stomach. And so, yeah, this is like our rice every day. And then this, they love the fish taste. Like, their favorite thing is fish paste, where they take a bunch of fish, they put them in a bucket with salt, and they let it rot down. And then that juice from that, they love to put on their rice. So it's real gross. Here we got some lovely bugs being fried up here. Cicadas, they got a bunch of them, and they were really good. They deep fried them up, but I think it's because I was so hungry. And I was like, wow, they're like a chip. They're so good. And I was eating them, and Zadok's like, Claire, do not eat too many. Because a guy the day before, he broke out in like hives from here to here. And we were like, how'd that happen? He's like, he ate too many bugs. So Zadok was like, Claire, do not eat too many bugs. So I only had like 4. So then this is where all the food was cooked on. So there was like 30 of us there. So every meal was cooked on this little thing with wood. Like, it was total third world. I was joking that I should like make a video to all the like wannabe off-gridders and tell them it's really not that great, because I lived it for 10 months of living off-grid. I'm like, you know what? A washer, a dryer, running water. It's really, really nice. So, yeah. This kind of shows the situation. So there's like a town we went to that had 10,000 people living there, and got bombed by Burma Army. As you can see, these are pretty like second world homes, like brick and everything, and totally bombed, mortared, and all these 10,000 people are off living completely in the jungle now. Completely, because the Burma Army bombed the whole place. This is what a lot of their homes look like. You'll have whole families living in here. They have their water buffalo underneath, like all the animals live underneath the house, and then you throw your food scraps through the floor to the animals underneath. So real nice there. Then this is at a Bible camp, actually, that we got to fund. There was like 200 youth, and I got to preach the gospel there, and like 11 girls gave their life to Jesus that night. This is a young lady. She's not that young, but anyways, she was Catholic, and then God radically saved her. And so I got to talk with her, and she runs a boarding house, and I just got to, like, through broken English, talk to her, and it was just really cool. Hopefully gonna go back and work with her and stuff. And this is the traditional clothes they wear. So these are all the female students that I was with for the whole time. And so, yeah, I actually got a lady, they like hand weave this whole thing. And so I got that made by like a village lady in her little hut, and she like hand wove the whole thing. Here's some, oh, if the sound, I don't know if the sound's connected. Oh, let's see. Oh. Let's see. Not the most flattering. I don't know if the Wi-Fi, maybe it's not good enough. Okay, so we're currently hiking up a mountain in Grand State to a village that even FBR hasn't gone to. That's pretty hard to get to. And it's 11 a.m. We've been hiking for about 30 minutes. And we're currently on a flat path, so I can actually record something. Otherwise, totally out of breath. But yeah, we're going to this village. There's only been one program there ever, and it was last year. So it's a pretty isolated village. Doesn't really get much help. No roads to it. Just this little trail. Right? Okay, can you move on from this still? Telling you, if you met me there, you wouldn't know this one exists. I mean, okay, so.
Okay, and action.
Oh no.
Okay, and
no.
Action. So, what do we got here?
I'm sorry. Why is it?
Here.
Well, there's my other one.
Okay, and action. So, what do we got here?
Well, there's my other one I lost.
Some sort of pus coming out of the nail, and it looks dead.
It looks really.
You might lose your nails. What? How many miles you did yesterday?
A little over 15 up some crazy mountains.
Yeah.
So, I lost like 5 toenails. So I think I lost like 5 toenails on that hike. And so, yeah.
Okay,
oh,
and action.
I don't need to go back to this one. Okay, this is in a village. So that little girl that was standing next to me, she was probably like 5 years old. And I remember like a moment when we're doing the program and this plane goes overhead. And she's like going like this, and I just hold her. And I realize just like, what is this little girl seeing? Because like when 5-year-olds here, they see a plane, it's like, oh, look, a plane. Symbols like adventure, and there it just symbolizes terror to them. And it was like that moment of like, what is this girl seeing? Like we don't even understand like what they have been through. Like pretty much everyone we met had lost a family member. Like every week, someone new would be going through a grieving process. Like they'd know someone who died, got bombed, then the next week they'd be kind of better than someone else. And then someone else. So it's just like an ongoing state of grief the whole time that we were in Burma. Okay. This is one of the showering. We hiked like 15 minutes down a mountain to this. It was like brown water. And you hike 10 minutes down a mountain to shower in brown water, and then you hike back up, and you're already like sweating. Oh, so the toilets here, guys, are really, really nice. Just letting you know, especially after this. Okay, we have the restroom right there. Water. Oh no. Oh, what take a second? Oh, see that? Oh, it must have been.
holes so you can see out to make sure no one's coming.
So, yeah, and so while we were there, I remember like almost every night going, God, I don't think I can go another day. Like literally, like Zadok can testify, like almost every day I'd be just crying out, bawling my eyes out to the Lord, like, God, I don't think I can do another day. And it wasn't because of the physical stuff. There was just so much like emotion and like the people that you were dealing with. And like we had them just like totally honestly, like really, especially at the end, like you pour into them and they don't like you at all. They're calling you names because of the gospel that you're bringing to them. They don't like you. Like, and that was like so hard when you give your whole life for them. You're living isolated. You're just living with them for all this time and they hate you for it. But I remember going, God, thank you that I'm getting to experience this. Thank you that I'm getting to experience some of the rejection that you felt. Thank you that I'm getting to experience this because this is just like I'm getting to be partnered in your suffering and like the betrayal that you felt and the rejection that you felt and the hatred that you felt. And it's like such a gift. Like it's such a gift to get to experience this because like, God, you gave me everything. Like, how could I not give you everything and just totally lay my life down for you? And literally, I realized, like, God is there to be our strength. Like, I would just cry out, like, God, I literally don't think I can go another day. Like, I cannot do this. And then at the end, we come through 10 months later. But, like, every day was crying out to God. It was not easy. But, like, serving God, it's not promised to be easy, like, at all. And it requires like a total radical surrender of uncomfortability and just like it wasn't easy. And like so many people, they come back just expecting this like woo hype story. And honestly, like it was so radical and it was so awesome. We got to go to a village that had never heard the name of Jesus. And Zadok got to preach the gospel and it was radically received. And we got to send 100 audio Bibles back to that village. And the leaders just so received it. And a place like never heard the name of Jesus. Totally isolated. We hike up this mountain to a totally unreached, like this is the missionary stories you read, but like I got to live it. I was like, whoa, God, like I'm living the stories that I read about in the YWAM missionary books. And I'm there. But it literally, like serving God, it takes your breath, your blood, your sweat, your tears. It takes everything to where I was like, I can't do this. And like, I realized like, am I really serving God if I could do it in my own strength? Like if I could do it myself, then I'm really not living to what God's called me to do if I'm not just totally like, I can't do this. Because it's not me. Like even coming here, I'm like, Lord, this is so for you. This is not, I don't feel like I have the strength, the ability, the right words to say, enough charisma, enough stories, but God, you know? And I show all these photos and like tell these stories to be like, whoa, that's cool. Like Claire did that. But like, what about you? Like, what if you said yes? And what could your life look like in 1 year? Like, even if you're a mom, you're married, like still, like you can start now. Like there's so many radical choices you can make now that will change the trajectory of your life, the trajectory of your family, the trajectory of your children by just taking radical steps of surrender now. And like, you don't know what it will change. So like, my question for this whole week is like, what are choices you can begin to make? Like a small choice that's going to change that trajectory so that God has that ability to use you, because so many people want to fit God into their dream. They want to fit God into their world instead of making their whole world God, to where God takes over and you're just a tool that's being used. But often we just want to fit God into our life and get to keep I love you and I want to serve you, but like we can't do this and I won't do this. Oh, I could never. Like I've had people tell me, oh, Claire, I could never do what you did. Well, I couldn't either, but I just chose to say yes to God. And it's to say that I'm so shocked when people tell me like, oh, I could never do that. I could not go a day without being able to use a real toilet and have a real shower. Well, trust me, I don't enjoy it either. But to me, I see what God did for me on the cross and I realized it. And so that's why I'm here. And so ask yourself this weekend, like, God, what are some things of radical surrender I can begin to do now? To just totally, where there are no hidden rooms. There's nothing I'm holding on to. And that God has all of that control. And, that's like if you have questions and stuff. That was for the question jar, but I covered it in the beginning. But I think my thing is just like, what are the incremental choices? Like, what are the incremental choices you can make? The little things that literally will change your life forever. And you don't know like what that could look like. And why can't it start with you? Why can't it start with us? Like, why not you? Why not me? And I remember thinking, someone told me, and they're like, live a life that people would write books about. Not in a prideful way, but in a God way of like, I'm going to live a life that people would write books about. Like I read these people who live surrender and all these missionary stories and all this. Whoa, that's so cool. Good for them. Why can't it be you? Like we just think like really, why couldn't it be you? Why couldn't there be a radical story upon your life? And not everyone is going to go overseas and do missions like that. But everyone is called to so much more than you realize. Like each one of you. No matter what you're doing in life right now, you're called to so much more than like you realize. And that's what I hope you get this weekend. It's just like that empowerment to just like, yeah, I'm going all in this. Like I'm going to stop holding back. Like the potential upon your guys' lives and the potential in this room is like so much bigger than like any of us realize. And so honestly, I'm just so thankful that you guys are here. And like already coming here and like, okay, there were so many people that didn't sign up because of the cold plunge. Like so many people told me like, oh, I really wanted to come, but I saw the cold plunge and couldn't do it. I'm like, oh, well, one, my brain does not compute with that because I'm like, oh, if it's hard, like I better do it. Like I was always like, I'm not going to let somebody show me up. But like, honestly, it just shows so much that you guys are all like, hey, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do something uncomfortable. Because when we're willing to like push ourselves into something uncomfortable, that's when God can like really, really use it. Because so many people like, they just want to stay comfortable. Like, why would I push myself? I don't need to push myself. I'm already comfortable. But it's not about being comfortable. And so I'm just so glad that you guys are here, that you guys made the choice to take the plunge, literally. And so like the plunge, like the cold plunge for me is not just about cold plunges, but it's about that like mental, like I'm going to do something that makes me feel uncomfortable and I'm going to push myself and I'm going to challenge myself and make myself feel uncomfortable. Like honestly, if I'm being honest, I'm not greatly looking forward to it tomorrow. I was like, wow, it's really going to be cold. But I'm like, you know what? If it makes me uncomfortable, I'm going to go do it,